Have you ever been hurt by someone, but instead of acknowledging how you felt, you immediately started making excuses for them?
Maybe they were just having a bad day. He really is a good person. She probably didn't mean it that way. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm just being too sensitive.
And just like that, your feelings get dismissed, not necessarily by them, but by you. You swallow the disappointment, you smooth it over, you convince yourself it wasn't that bad. You avoid the confrontation, avoid rocking the boat, and keep moving. But what happens to all of those feelings you keep pushing down? Where do they go? Before I began my healing journey, God gave me one word that caused me to take a closer look at myself: suppression. And what I discovered changed the way I understood myself, my relationships, and even some of the feelings I have been carrying for decades. So let's talk about it. Welcome back to Rock Your Own Beauty. I'm Cricket Williams-Bea. Around here, we're doing the work of healing mind, body, and spirit. Today, we're talking about what happens when we suppress our feelings. Are you the type of person who struggles to stand up and speak up for yourself? Maybe because you want to avoid disputes or confrontation. You don't question someone else's behavior that negatively affects you, or you don't express how you truly feel about what they've done. You may think, what's the point in rocking the boat, creating ripples in the pond? Why get them all upset over something that could possibly be nothing? You convince yourself that
It really wasn't that bad.
whether it was that bad or not, did it bother you? If so, what did you do with those feelings? Did you acknowledge or attempt to validate your feelings? Or did you cast your feelings off like they were nothing? Did you allow yourself to process everything so you could truly release the issue and move on? Or did you swallow the disappointments, smooth things over in your mind by making excuses for their behavior or force feeding this narrative?
Mm, he really is a good person. He had a really rough upbringing. He probably doesn't know how he sounds. I don't think he meant it the way it came out. She was probably just having a bad day. I should have been more sensitive. I mean, she did lose her job. I am just overreacting. Now, I'm being too sensitive. I'm just tripping.
And if you do this on the regular, all of those pent up emotions get absorbed or eventually leak out somehow, but not in a healthy way. You may battle with mental health issues such as depression or anxiety. You may struggle with self doubt or self trust. Do you have a hard time expressing or understanding your emotions? Over time, living under chronic stress can take a toll on us, not just emotionally, but physically too. Our bodies can carry the effects of prolonged stress in ways we may not immediately connect to what we're going through emotionally. You may have built up internal pressure that could lead to resentment or burnout. You may lash out, or you may struggle to clearly explain why you categorize certain people in your life as untrustworthy, dishonest, and it never occurred to you to go back and re examine the past, what they may have done to cause you to feel that way about them. Before embarking on my healing journey, God led me to look up the word suppression. So I went and read up on suppression, and during my reading, I also discovered the word repression. The difference between the two is that suppression is where you have conscious control, like you know the thought or emotion is there, but you choose to ignore it or you just deal with it later. Repression is unconscious processing where your mind blocks the memory or feeling automatically to protect you from trauma or severe anxiety without you realizing it. In other words, it's where the subconscious hides things that are so traumatic from the conscious mind to protect you from distress. That was really interesting. However, in this video, I want to focus on suppression, what we consciously choose. When God spoke the word suppression to me, I thought God was trying to show me something about someone else, but he was teaching me something about me. At that time, I was trying to reconnect with an old friend from high school. We were pretty cool back then. We both played in the marching band together. You know, band members were like family, and we spent a lot of time together. I transferred to another school during my junior year, but I wanted to attend senior prom at my old high school.
Why not go with someone I already knew, liked, and trusted?
So, my friend and I planned on going together, but he faked me out. At the last minute, he faked me out, and I was pretty upset about it. I was really upset about it, but I downplayed my disappointment. We kept in contact after high school as good friends, but ended up losing connection. Decades later, we reconnected, and I found myself struggling to trust him, and I didn't know why.
That alone would have been enough for most people. But no, not me.
So I asked God why I had a hard time trusting him, and God took me back to senior prom. I was so disappointed about prom, but never expressed how upset I was back then. I did mention it to him when we reconnected, but his excuse just felt off. I wish I could tell you I paid attention to that bit of information and left him alone, because the past was actually a lesson on how much of my attention he deserved. But no, I went through this whole ordeal of taking our relationship to another level, which only proved that he hadn't changed. He hadn't changed at all. I left once again, even more disappointed, and we are no longer friends. After that whole incident, it caused me to become more in tune, more aware as other feelings came to surface regarding other people in my life. Afterwards, I was asking God about everything. I never knew how much I suppressed over the decades. Anyway, fast forward a few years later, at some point during my healing journey, God said,
If you don't want to go back to where you came from, deal with issues head on.
so I now practice addressing issues ASAP to avoid getting emotionally backed up. Now, I can't say I'm perfect, but I'm doing much, much better. And I continue to do even better. You do get better with practice. There are a lot of things that have surfaced causing me to confront my past. I eventually Went from always asking God what was going on with me to being able to go back into my past to retrieve information from a specific time or various time periods to pinpoint where it started and why I feel the way I feel. And that's when I started realizing maybe the feelings I had spent years trying to push down weren't meaningless after all. Maybe they were trying to tell me something, but that led me to an even bigger question. How did I become someone who automatically suppressed her own feelings in the first place? And when I started asking God that question, He took me all the way back to my childhood. We'll talk about that in part 2.